What's up, party people in the house? Dynasty War Games. I'm your host, Jesse Schneeman. For those of you out there, there was a little discussion this week on how you say it. Schneeman, it means snowman in German. That's me. I'm your host. We're here. We're right here, right in front of you, bringing you a podcast. I'm joined by Captain Mike Casper. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Hey, what's up? Recovering from vasectomy, having a great time.
Sounds like a great time. Right on. And as usual, my main man, Chad Mendoza. What's going on?
Nothing much. I still am non-vasectomied and doing well. Yeah. Is that the proper term? I'm sure it's not, but there has to be some kind of term out there.
Non-vasectomized.
Yeah, something along those lines. Maybe we'll look it up after this.
Right on. Yeah, I've never had it done. I never had a knee. So
it's not as bad as I thought it'd be. I'll be honest, but okay. I think I had a good doctor. He's been around a while. He said he's done a couple thousand, and it took about maybe 30 minutes. So
a couple thousand. Were you awake?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was covering my eyes though. Like I don't.
No, I'd been like put me to sleep. They'd been like, no, we don't do watching. That.
Yeah, they usually don't. I don't think they do.
Yeah, I'd be like, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. I don't care. Just do it.
Just like a Band-Aid. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Right on. I lost a little part of myself too. Those who are watching on YouTube, I sliced off the top part of my thumb, and it's heavily bandaged. So good times there. If they say
Chad's missing a toe. Yeah.
No, Chad's missing a toe.
No, I'm just saying. We can say everybody.
Oh, I thought Chad had an extra toe.
I have the normal amount of toes. I promise, guys.
Okay.
I would show, but I'm not on camera right now. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry for YouTube land. I'm the only one on camera. Sorry.
Next week will be the reemergence of my face, for better or worse. Probably worse, but
cool.
Yeah,
cool. All right. So, what are we drinking tonight, gentlemen?
I've got straight up water tonight. I'm very boring. Though it's just with the recovery medicine I'm taking. I probably shouldn't mix it with any of the fine energy drinks I have. But I do have a Smarties flavored energy drink waiting in my fridge for next week that I'm excited to try. I've never tried before.
Smarties flavored.
So sugar flavored.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nice.
So terrible. I'm drinking some Vizcaya rum, some Cuban rum with some ginger beer. Yeah. So
interesting. So like a dark and stormy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. All right. I am real boring tonight. I'm going with Miller Lite. That's what I got. That's what was in my fridge. I didn't really have time. So Gator J in chat. Drinking Jack Daniels.
Nice. Can't go wrong with that.
Beautiful. All right, so let's get down to some Dynasty talk. I'm pretty excited because it's starting to be trade season again. Do you guys ever get that feeling like I'm never going to make a trade again? Like it's never going to come together. I've gotten 17 awful offers in a row. It's been 3 months. I'm never going to make a trade. It's never going to happen, right?
Well, I'm honestly in too many leagues for that. Like, there's always a league where somebody is trying to trade me. What's that?
16. I'm in 16, 17 leagues.
Oh man, you gotta find better leagues then. I can't stop making trades. Sometimes really? I turn my notifications off because I'm like, man, I like my rosters and I'm tired of seeing offers. So I'm just like, guys, I'm checking out for a bit. Let everybody know I'm gone for 2 weeks or so and I'm out. But yeah, the trades, I mean, once the floodgates start, they keep coming.
That's good. Well, I was telling Jesse earlier this week in our chat, I was like, man, I've got a lot of contending teams. I'm in like 12, 13 leagues, and I really like the rosters. And I'm not sure there's a whole lot I wanted to do with them. So it was interesting. I actually got some done this week that I ventured out and did. So following one of Chad Mendoza's strategies, actually. So it was good.
Okay. What did you do?
Just player share. So,
nice.
Chad talks about keeping it around, the 30% or under kind of a thing. and I had over 40% CeeDee Lamb, so I was like, yeah, I'll just put out there in all my leagues because I've also listened to I want to give a shout out to him. I can't think of it right now. But he always talks about how if he has too many shares of a person, he'll just put him on the block in all my leagues and say, hey, I'm looking to trade one share, like first league to, make a trade and it happens. And then I'm going to take him off the block. So feel free to send some offers. And I did that and actually got some pretty good offers.
That's actually a pretty good
nice.
strategy. I haven't really thought about doing that before, but yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What did you get?
Yeah. So this was in a 10-team PPR. This was my first Dynasty league. So it's 10-team. But so I traded Lamb for Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, and a third was the initial offer I got. And so I kind of snatched that up. I'm not huge on Hill this year. But I do like Terry, and with the new contract, I felt like that was two pretty elite assets that I could switch one or the other over into a first plus somewhere mid-season. So I really like the value there for the potential of Lamb, someone who's never proven it, right?
Yeah, agreed. I like that. That's really good value, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah,
Chad?
No, I like it as well. It's kind of funny to me, like how everybody is chosen to hop off of Terry McLaurin now, like after he finally gets a decent quarterback from a production standpoint. I don't get it. I think this is going to be the year where he, turns the kind of eye test that he's been passing, and it just kind of goes into the production side of things where we start seeing him reach that wide receiver one territory. So I really like it.
Funny to me, though, that's what people are saying about Pittman as well. Same quarterback. You know what I mean? Like Pittman's getting an upgrade from Wentz, and then TMC's getting an upgrade to Wentz.
Yeah, but I think the Pittman one is smoke and mirrors. I mean, other than the one case I can see for Pittman is that he's another year in the league, and you hope that his development continues. But yeah, the quarterbacking in Indianapolis last year was great from a production standpoint. I mean,
good, not great.
No, it was great. It was great. I mean, good enough for a team with one good wide receiver on it. It's not like the ball had to be spread around a bunch. So, good. I mean, if it wouldn't be great if it was like Cincinnati and you had to feed Chase and Higgins, but for a team that mostly relies on one wide receiver, it was really good production. He's not going to get that much of a bump from what Wentz was given last year.
I agree. I think Wentz set him up for this season, but nobody will give him that credit. So,
I mean, it's absolutely insane. Like, Wentz didn't throw the ball that much. He only threw it 516 times, was ultra efficient, threw 27 touchdowns. Like, like that's really good production.
Yeah, with very few interceptions too.
7 interceptions.
Yeah. So I hear you. It's the stink of what he did last is so on him.
Yeah, but that's I mean, bullshit narrative.
It affects his value.
Small sample size, yeah.
It's bullshit narrative though. I mean, it does.
I hear you. Yeah, him having no heart and not being able to lead a team means nothing to fantasy. At least on a year-to-year basis. I mean, dynasty wise, maybe a little.
Matt Ryan hasn't thrown over 27 touchdowns since 2018.
Yeah, Matt Ryan definitely has lost a little zip on his deep ball. You can see that. He's also been playing behind a trash line.
Yeah, but he's also been throwing the ball 100 more times than Carson Wentz threw it last year.
Yeah,
I mean, almost every single season.
I thought it was odd when Ryan went to Indy that everyone automatically thought it was a huge upgrade. I don't, especially not from a fantasy standpoint. I think from an NFL standpoint, there's a really good chance that Matt Ryan comes in and is exactly what Wentz wasn't, like a really good leader, great locker room guy, knows the system, is always going to put the ball where it needs to be. But, from a fantasy standpoint, I don't see him being, dynamic or, have really at this point in his career having any more arm talent really than Wentz. He might be more accurate, but he definitely doesn't have the deep ball strength that Wentz has.
I think everybody blamed his performance on the Falcons O-line, which was atrocious. And so I think that's why they're jumping on the Ryan bandwagon. They're like, oh, he's got a better line now and people
We'll
to
see.
actually throw the ball to. And yeah, no, exactly. Like I don't really believe that narrative necessarily. I'm just on board
Yeah.
with we'll see and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's just going to have to throw the ball a lot more in that offense than Carson once was given the opportunity to last season to maintain that production. So, and I don't know if that's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor in that offense. If I'm being completely honest with you.
True. Yeah, I agree. All right, so I have a trade in my inbox. Let's see if you guys would do this. So it's a rebuilding team. I have I'm being offered Devontae Smith and a third for George Pickens and a second. 2023 third, 2023 second.
How early do you think the second's going to be? Mid, late?
I don't think it's going to be early. He's got a pretty good team.
I'd rather have Devontae Smith.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think it's pretty easy. Except, yeah, C. Stroud is the guy who's second I have, and yeah, he's got Lamar and Brady, Chubb, Tyreek, Hollywood, Kittle. You know, like, and he's got a lot of depth too. So he's got a really good team.
They're both going to have a. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, I know we're talking about training camp stuff later, but I know, Deontay Johnson is holding in, right? So he's just doing side work on the field, and Pickens is making some highlight videos right now. And so I think that's where probably the offer is stemming from is, Pickens can really have that breakout this year, and Deontay, based off of, what basically the Pittsburgh Steelers do as far as extending wide receivers, meaning they won't. And so Pickens will step into, a pretty bigger role next year is what I think this owner's thinking. So it's close for me. But if you're a contender, I'm fine with Smith.
I'm not a contender. I'm rebuilding.
Oh, you're not a contender?
No, but it's a late second that I'm giving up. It's not my second.
Yeah. I guess that makes it closer for me, but I'd call it a coin flip. I understand Eagles fandom here too, so you could sell me more on Devontae Smith than maybe I care to.
I mean, I don't get it with Pickens. I mean, he's going to have pretty substantial competition in that offense to see a consistent number of reps, throughout the season. It's not like he's a locked in wide receiver 2 in that offense. I mean, I get it. He's a rookie.
Smith is too, right? Like
no, but Smith is definitely going to face competition, but he's the locked in at least wide receiver 2 in that offense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, Pickens isn't even guaranteed to be the number 3 wide receiver. They also who knows that he doesn't share that role with Calvin Austin or another guy. I don't know. They probably don't still have Ray McLeod, but somebody else on the roster. He's not necessarily a slot guy anyway. So his skill set maybe overlaps with Claypool's a little bit.
I think they're going to try to get him on the field as much as possible. I know they like Claypool. I know Claypool's seen as a good, receiver in the NFL. I think the NFL likes him a lot more than Dynasty people generally do. Especially, since the beginning of last season or since the start of last season.
He had the same numbers. He had the same numbers last year as the year before, except for touchdowns. By the way. So.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, and it's just the whole quarterbacking thing too. Like I don't trust the Eagles quarterbacks at all. But I trust even less the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks.
Okay. Yeah. So, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, it's I think they're in similar situations. It's just that Pickens is a less proven talent in my eyes as a prospect and as an NFL player because I've seen, Devontae Smith flash in his first year, and the situation is tougher for Pickens. So I'm taking Devontae Smith pretty easily for me.
I guess from a dynasty side too, like I don't know. I'm just really trying to hold on to as many 20-23 seconds as I can because I feel like they could really explode come draft time. So I don't know how you feel about it, Jesse, but I'd almost counter like Devonta Smith for Pickens in a third, and see if that can get it done or something. That way you're not giving up a second. I'm not sure if you have a third, but that would be my strategy there. I guess that's part of what goes into my valuation, but I think it's totally fair either side.
Right on. I see Devontae Smith clearly ahead of Pickens. Pickens hasn't. I mean, there's a lot of question marks about him, and just his desire was questioned by a lot of NFL analysts this offseason leading up, and a lot of people. I heard a lot of people say he takes a lot of plays off. So, he's got a lot to prove. Devontae Smith is the opposite. All you hear about is this guy just works. He was showing up at 6:30 in the morning going, where is everybody? I don't understand. Yeah. Like, he thought that's just when practice started. So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, these are all narratives, but he's a way more proven player in the NFL. The only reason I didn't smash accept right away is because I didn't know if my Eagles bias was.
I mean, and he's a better prospect too. Like, let's not forget that. Even if we're just comparing to when they were coming out of college, Devonta Smith is a much better prospect than Pickens.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
In my opinion, much better prospects. So.
Yes, faster, smoother, better route runner, awesome hands. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I just accepted it.
Nice.
Yeah, feels good. Feels good to make a trade. I like it.
Trade drought is over.
All right, cool. So do we want to talk about training camp a little bit?
Let's do it.
All right. So I think we're gonna introduce a new segment on the show where each of us is actually, Chad, why don't you introduce it and then go with your guy?
Yeah. So we've decided to follow each one of us follow one NFL player throughout the season. This may be a player that we think is going to exceed expectations and perform really well this season, gain a ton of value. Or it may be a guy that people are fairly high on right now that we think once we get into the season, value is going to taper off a little bit and they're going to see a little bit of problems there. So, my guy, I feel like I'm talking about this guy every week now. I'm actually getting a little sick of it. But
well, that's
Kadarius
kind of the point.
Toney. Yeah. Well, I guess now I'm going to be talking about him a lot more. So, Kadarius Toney is having a phenomenal camp. They are, for those of you that don't know, he is a marginally successful YouTube rapper. And
I didn't know that.
I looked it up, has about 30,000 views on each one of his latest songs. Don't quiz me on the titles. I don't know. But he goes by the rap name Young Joka. And
with a Joka.
Yeah, Joka. And very interesting stuff. Actually, one of the songs was kind of catchy. Anyways, they were blasting his music in camp and jamming to it. So while everybody else is playing, Young Thug and Future and Jay-Z and Drake, they're playing Young Joka. And I'm sure Kadarius Toney appreciated that. But also, on a more football-related note, he has been, just highlight after highlight has been his moniker this training camp so far. We're 3 days in, and I've seen at least 4 or 5 highlights from this guy. And, pretty incredible catches in the corner of the end zone, pretty good sideline grabs, one-handed, with cornerbacks draped all over him. It's been pretty good stuff. And, take that stuff with a grain of salt, but it's there. And the one thing that I thought was really interesting in training camp so far with him is that in years past, the Giants, the way they've operated, and a lot of other NFL franchises operate in training camp, is they push to the forefront a player that they think is their most exciting player. They push them out there. They do a lot of media with them. Every video, no matter what it's about, no matter who it's with, seems to feature this player in one way or another. They want to get him in front of the camera as much as possible, get him in front of the mic, have their beat writers talk to this guy as much as possible. Every press conference, the beat writers are asking questions about this guy. And usually it's been Saquon Barkley, injured or not, right? It's always been Saquon since he's come into the NFL. This year it's Kadarius Toney. And people on Twitter, Giants fans on Twitter, are even asking if this guy is a new face of the franchise, which is odd because a few months back, I almost called him a slob of a beat reporter, but I don't think that's I don't think that's kind. So I'll just say tabloid reporter
Okay.
Pat Leonard reported that the Giants wanted to trade him, and he was asked about that this past training camp session as well, and said that it didn't affect him at all because he had spoken with the staff and he knows what was really going on. So it doesn't sound like that was the case. That was just kind of media stirred up drama, and it looks like things are looking up for him. If he can stay healthy, we're going to be following him. So hopefully things keep trending upward.
Right on. Okay. All right. So good stuff out of Kadarius Toney. Mike, who are you going to talk about? So who's your guy at a Broncos camp?
So my guy for me is going to be Cortland Sutton. Just obviously with the new quarterback there in Russell Wilson, also with the competition from Jerry Jeudy. I think a lot of people are more on the Jerry Jeudy train, like, hey, this is his chance to really come in, break out. I think everybody forgets, 2 years ago, Cortland Sutton was really good before he had the ACL injury, right? So he was the wide receiver 17 that year, or 19 that year. And that was with garbage quarterback play because we haven't had a good quarterback in forever. So he was a Pro Bowler too, right? So I'm really excited. I've been seeing some highlights, obviously some like good stuff. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but we got some blurbs from Hackett today saying, hey, like it's Russ is running the offense. So he's like, we're giving him full control over the playbook. So it's not a my way or the highway kind of coaching staff, which I'm sure is a breath of fresh air for Russ. But yeah, I just really think Sutton's going to outperform his ADP, and I think he's really been putting in the work. He's done all the private workouts with Russ this offseason as well. So I think they're ready to get it and ready to have another breakout season.
Right on. All right. Cool. Yeah, I love Cortland Sutton. I can't wait for his season. I bought him a lot of places last year, when the Broncos stopped throwing, because everybody just gave up on him and Jeudy. Jeudy was a lot harder to get. People still wanted a first for Jeudy, but not Sutton. I got him for like second and third.
Yeah. I actually just recently, I mean, I guess not super recent, but I bought a share from Mike not too long ago in one of our leagues. I think it was for a 2024 first.
Okay.
If I remember right. Does that sound
right,
Mike?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was in the Marvels league we're in together.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty hardcore rebuild, but I was heavy on Broncos. I had Jeudy.
Well, you had Jeudy, yeah.
And Alberto. And I'm still like my team's getting better from where it was last year, but I still don't think I'm a contender. So I was like, yeah, I'll take another first and move on. And,
yeah, I would have done that. I could really use Sutton in that league. I really need a wide receiver.
Yeah, I just kind of saw that he had both those players and was in a rebuild, and I was like, man, he'll probably let Sutton go.
Chad, would you take
Broncos fans?
Would you take Olave for him?
Would I take Olave for Sutton?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the roster, but
in that league,
in most,
offering him to you in that league.
Ooh, live trade offer.
Oh gosh, damn, that's tough.
Chad's like, I can't do it right now.
I love Olave.
I mean, I love Olave too, but I just don't. I have a pretty good contending roster this year. I kind of need more of a veteran receiver. Olave's a little young. I can't. I've got him slated in as a starter.
What or was that? No, that was it Einstein's or was it Marvel?
Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel's the one I'm talking about. If you have him in Marvel.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't see him in my roster. Anyways, dead airtime. Oh yeah, I do see him. Okay. Shit. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
till the end of the episode.
All right. Yeah. So tell us about your guy, Jesse.
All right. So everybody knows Hurts, right? All eyes on Hurts in Eagles training camp. I mean, every Eagles fan, every Hurts owner is, I would say, concerned at the very minimum. If he doesn't take a step forward this year, we all know that he could get replaced. So very polarizing guy as well, because a lot of people really think that for some reason some people really believe in him as a passer. I just haven't seen it. He's kind of a mess mechanically. His arm strength isn't great, although they say he's added some strength this year. It's really hard to add arm strength. Day one in training camp, reports were average. He did have a couple nice passes to Quez Watkins, a touchdown, and a contested ball. Quez Watkins looking really good, by the way, in camp. And then day two, they were off. So Eagles went the old practice the first day and off the second day. I don't get that, but then today was day three, so I haven't gotten really any reports yet. So, but couple flashes out of Hurts, but still some inaccurate incompletions. Didn't throw any interceptions, but really, I guess as a whole, didn't look like he has really taken a step from last year. Is what I got. But that's one day. But that's sort of the same thing I was hearing from OTAs. One really positive thing though that I did hear out of Eagles camp, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on this guy because you guys know I love him. Haven't given up on him yet. Jalen Reagor has shown up.
This is about Jalen Hurts.
Reagor has shown up.
Reagor.
He's a best shape of his life guy. He was seriously, guy's gone through a lot of tragedy in the last year and a half, and from what I've seen, is he's now kind of gathered himself, and he's using it all as motivation. He was really close with Jeff Gladney, the corner that died in that car accident tragically. So just keep your eyes on Reagor, because not that I think he has a role in the Eagles. Our top three receivers are pretty much cemented. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins as the third guy. And then the guy that Zach Pascal, he's also going to take a lot of reps, especially on running downs, because he's a really good blocker. So it's going to be hard for Reagor to get on the field as an Eagle, but keep an eye on him to get traded to another team. If we can get some kind of third, conditional fourth that turns into a third, something like that for him, I could really see the Eagles taking it. So Bears or I don't know, Patriots, one of the teams that need help at wide receiver, I wouldn't be surprised.
Nice. All right. Well, one thing we will do, just to notate, the start of this journey here with these three characters here, these three athletes, is we're going to write down what their current value is. So Jalen Hurts right now on Dynasty Trade Calculator is valued in at a 37.2, which is equal to roughly a early 2023 first and a mid 2023 second.
Okay. I feel like they undervalue seconds a little. Always keep that in mind when I'm putting seconds in the DTC.
I think it's pretty good value. I think they have it a mid 2023 second rated as 9.
Oh, 9? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what is Hurts again?
37.2.
Hurts 37.2. All right. What's Tony?
So early first, mid second. Cortland Sutton is who I plugged in next, and he's at a 16.1.
Wow.
Which is roughly equal to 2 mid 2023 seconds.
I mean, that could be in the 30s by the end of the season.
Yeah, very, very well could be.
And
then Kadarius Toney is 7.8, which is equal to a late 2023 second.
Wow.
I
do think you could get him for that too.
I have gotten him for that.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so on him this offseason.
Mm-hmm. I have so many shares of him from last year that it doesn't make sense for me to go buy more. But at that price, it's still really cheap.
Yeah. I
just don't want to be overexposed. Yeah, because there is that chance that he can't stay healthy. That his body's too twitchy for his ligaments.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey Jesse, I know Chad said he's nervous to deal with you on a live show, but I sent you two I sent you 2 offers in the same league, so if you want to take a little gander, I'd be
exploding offers.
So I don't have any Olave, so I wouldn't mind investing in some. I just didn't have the picks a lot of times where he was. So
So what's the offer?
First one was Jerry Jeudy straight up.
Ooh.
So
I would take that.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of Jeudy, and then I also offered like T Higgins and a second for Olave and a first.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to lowball, trying to make it good for radio, you know.
No, those are both really good offers. I'm going to take one of them.
Cool.
I love Jeudy. I think I have Russ in this league too.
I would take Jeudy. Yeah. And I really like Olave. I would take
I don't want to give up the first. I like T Higgins a lot, but I don't want to give up the first.
That's fine.
And I think that's a really good trade for both sides.
I was shocked. You know, they have a Dynasty trade calculator has basically Sutton and Jeudy the same. I think they had Jeudy at a 16.4, which is interesting because I don't think you can get him for 2 seconds at all.
No,
you can't. He's worth a first.
A first,
which is what Olave was this year. He was a late first, you know.
Yeah,
he was I probably got him in that league with the 110. I think because I remember I had a late pick because I have a good team. I was contender last year, and then he just fell for some reason. I got lucky and snapped him up right away because I needed a wide receiver anyway. And then I got lucky in the third, and Alec Pierce fell to me in the third. So I'm really happy with that. So I got Jeudy and Alec Pierce.
Nice.
Yeah. I only had a first and a third. So yeah.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Mr. Mike, Captain Mike.
Want some exposure? Yeah. Do it.
All right. So what are we getting into next?
That's my only Jeudy share so far. Nice. All right. So the 3 of us, along with some other friends and Patreon DWZ Patreon members, started a league. Also, Chad's father. I don't know what category he falls into. Well, we started a league this week. Actually, Chad's the commissioner. He started the league. I have to give Chad a lot of credit because it's not easy organizing a live auction across time zones in America and cross countries. We have Neil from the Aussie guys drafting with us as well. So it's not easy putting this together. So really great job, Chad. Why don't you tell us what we're doing in Reality Sports Online?
Yes. So Reality Sports Online is something that I've been super, super crazy about since almost its inception. It's a ridiculously fun platform. I'm not really sure why it's not more popular in the Dynasty space. I think, at one point it was a little bit more popular than it is even now, but it's absolutely fantastic. Basically, they mimic the NFL salary cap, and your auction is basically bidding on players with, the NFL salary cap and offering contracts 1, 2, 3, or 4 year contracts for certain players or for whatever player. And you have free agency. You have to re-sign players or have the option to re-sign players. There's algorithms built into the platform that take into account your specific league and what the pay structure is overall in your league. And so when you go to re-sign players, they take that into account and say the player's agent wants this amount of money for this amount of years to re-sign and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's really getting to the realism of all of it. It adds so much more depth to Dynasty play as a whole. It's very challenging. And it sounds very intimidating, but as you guys can probably attest, or at least what I think you guys will say is that once you're actually in it, it's just fun and it's not as intimidating as you think it is going to be when you're going into it.
Yeah. So, I'll definitely say, when Chad first presented it, I really didn't want to do it. I took the spot out of, just support.
I forced him. I basically forced him.
Yeah, basically I was like, Chad, I don't think so because I'm going to be gone half the summer, doing what I could, and Chad wasn't having it. So, but Chad was right. It was, number one, I really liked because Jesse and I are co-owning a team. And since we're both new to it, I really actually liked co-owning, even though I know Jesse and I always have different opinions and things like that. It was very nice, especially with the bidding format, to be able to have one, there while the other was taking a break. Because it's a long draft. I mean, we're only 60 something players in, and we drafted for 3 hours.
Yeah,
but it was a lot of fun too, and really active. And if you took your eye off the bid counter, people would sneak through.
Which happened.
Kyle Pitts, I think, and Watson
Pitts
and
Mandrews.
Yeah,
those are all three of my players.
Yeah.
What you got? You're the one that got Pitts.
You didn't get Pitts, did you?
No, I didn't get Pitts. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but you got Watson and Andrews.
So. I got Watson and Andrews.
Yeah. So, and I mean, Jesse and I were bold. We actually won the first player, and it actually ended up being a decent deal on Josh Allen. So,
we got a steal on Josh Allen.
I was surprised because you two were kind of, two of the newer guys to the platform, and you guys went in early with the bid on Josh Allen, and kind of weren't taking no for an answer and kept bidding him up. And what did you guys end up getting to at the end of it?
He's around $35 million a year on a 4-year.
4 years.
Yeah, and that was kind of the market setter. So I thought, but later on, I mean, even guys like Justin Herbert ended up going for something like $47 million a year. Granted, that's on like a 3-year contract, but
and I think Brady alone too, he's like 30 mil on a 1 year. So something like that, right?
Yeah, Russ was at 38 at 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, it's a huge bargain. I think the fact that it was the first player, people didn't know, didn't really feel like they understood what to bid. But again, like I have to agree with Mike. I really liked having a co-owner because, especially like another Dynasty owner that I know very well from talking to every week, but also that I trust. That Mike's a really good Dynasty player, knows his players, knows his values. So when I say, hey, what's the limit that we're going to go on this guy? And he says something like 25 mil. It's usually, around where what I was thinking anyway. Or if I say, hey, what do you think of 22 mil? Mike will say, okay, yeah, cool. Or, maybe a little less. Actually, Mike's a little less aggressive than I am. Which is good.
A little bit, yeah. He scared me a couple times. I'm glad we lost on some players.
I think we would have been fine getting.
There was one player. I don't remember who it was, but you guys were bidding on him, and I was like, "Oh man, this is a mistake, guys! Stop! This is a mistake!" And I almost texted you. And I remember, I forgot who it was. It might have been T. Higgins. It got really high, and I was like, "Oh, this is a big contract, guys."
Yeah, I'm like, it was like no.
It was like 20. He got up to 20 something mil for 4 years.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh no, it was DK actually.
Oh,
it was probably DK.
I wasn't there
DK
for DK, so
yeah, I don't remember, but I just remember thinking I was going to text you guys, and then I was like, you know what, I'll let them figure it out. They're good at this. So
it's funny though. Like our strategy honestly was to sit back and see what happens. But when Josh Allen came up first, I was like, I think 35 a year is pretty decent, right? And
right,
he was like, yeah, I mean, and we were right up to 35 and 1. So
Mike made a really good point that it's only 15% of our budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's a $208 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think of it as in terms of an NFL budget, they have 53 players.
Yep.
We don't. We have what, 24?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So less than half the players to fill the same budget. So 35 million isn't as significant of a hit. When Mike put it in those terms that it's only 15% of our budget, it's a no-brainer for your cornerstone quarterback, the best in the league. Young, great arm. Obviously he's the number one Dynasty asset in Superflex.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that deal. I thought that was at the time I thought it was pretty on par with what he should go for. But with how the rest of the market ended up going, I think it ended up being, a very slight bargain. So, you can't go wrong. If your top player is a bargain, even a slight bargain, I mean, that's what you want,
Right. Yeah, and I don't think we really overpaid for anyone. Kelsey, I think, was our next highest player, 2 years, 22 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kelsey's got 2 years left, but even if he doesn't, the way it works, we can just cut him and only pay half that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, so you have to pay their guaranteed money. So basically, how it works is you pay half of the year that they're currently on, or you pay the year that they're currently on, and then you pay half of the next season and their guarantees on top of it. So the rest of their guarantees. So yeah, it'll be a lot longer or a lot more if it's a 4-year contract because of the guaranteed monies. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely pull off cutting him. Or just sticking him on IR after he retires and saving half the cost of his yearly salary. So that's something you can do as well. The tight end market was very interesting to me. Tight ends went substantially cheaper than I thought they would go for.
Yeah, they did.
I
looked away.
There was confusion about the tight end premium because people had forgotten.
Well, we settled that early on, and
yeah,
even after we settled it, the market didn't uptick. You know, Waller still went for $7 million a year. $7.5 million a year. He went on a 2-year, $15 million contract.
What?
Really?
Or
2-year. Let me make sure that's right.
No.
I
wouldn't have let him do that.
No, we would because I'd love to have him in a flex spot.
Yeah, I'd love to have him. Yeah, 1.75 for sure.
Yeah, he's getting paid $7.5 million in Oh, I'm in a different league. Sorry, guys.
Okay. I was going to say, wow.
Waller hasn't gone in our league yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The bargains were Pitts and Mandrews. So talk about what did you get Mandrews for, Chad? I think it was 3 years, 17.
What'd you say?
What did you get Mandrews for? Was it 3 years, 17 per?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right. I'm trying to pull it up here now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty. No, I think I used a 4-year contract on him. So let me see here. I used my 4-year contract on him, which I thought was the way to go. He's actually the cheapest tight end. 3 tight ends have gone so far. You got Kelsey at $22 million a year. Pitts went for $19 million for 2022, and then I got Andrews for $15.73.
Wow. Yeah. So both Pitts and Andrews, whatever happened, I was like, because I had Mike on FaceTime and we had a Zoom going and I was talking on one of those and I looked back and it was over.
Yeah, Pitts only lasted I feel like 30 seconds. It was not.
It was really fast. Somebody jumped it up real fast and
yeah.
nobody paid attention and boom, he was gone. So you gotta really pay attention. Know what you want to do.
Yeah, it was very interesting. So in this platform, I thought I guess my strategy, or part of my strategy, is to look at the positions that develop slower and say, okay, these are the guys that I want to use my higher contracts on, my longer contracts on, because you only get a certain number of contracts, a certain number of 4-year contracts, a certain number of 3-year contracts, a certain number of 2-year contracts, and so the rest have to be 1-year contracts.
Yeah, 2 4-year contracts, and then 3 3-year contracts. So that's a big strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I looked at the tight end position and I said, okay, well, if I sign somebody to a 2-year contract, a younger player to a 2-year contract, he's not going to develop in that time. I'm probably going to have to re-sign him on a bigger deal later. So I'd rather just go with somebody like Mark Andrews, lock him in on a 4-year deal, get 4 years of production, and then, sign a rookie in the first round if one comes out sometime between those 4 years. That I think is worthy of that first round selection, because then you have the rookie option at the end of that. So, it's a position that's really tough in this format because you end up having to pay them a substantial amount of money post development, post their breakout year.
Right.
Quarterbacks is another one. The quarterback market was very, very interesting. We already talked about you guys and how Josh Allen went. Herbert, almost $48 million per year.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is the next highest at $41 million per year. Then Russell at 36. Then Lamar at 36, and then you guys at 34. So I think Josh Allen was a really good buy there again. Patrick Mahomes went just under that. even.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he was a good buy too.
Yeah, very good buy. I ended up getting Deshaun Watson on a 4-year deal, and paid $17 million for him, $17.5 million.
Yeah, super cheap.
So that was another one that I thought was, extremely interesting. What do you guys think about that contract? Because I a part of me understands why people would be hesitant to sign Deshaun Watson on a deal, knowing that, hey, I'm going to have to use a 4-year contract on him. I have a limited number of them, and if it goes south, that's a waste all around. I'm paying him a decent wage, and I'm going to have to eat all that money, and I don't have another contract to give another top player.
When it happened, so we already had our 2 quarterbacks, right? We had already gotten Allen and Stafford,
yeah.
So we didn't have room. Like, we didn't have cap room for that high of a third quarterback contract, right? If we wanted to compete, and we already had Tyreek and Kelsey probably already, but like, we had win now pieces already, so it just was too much. It wouldn't have left us enough to fill out our roster. Otherwise, I would have bid you up. In fact, I did bid you up, and Mike was yelling at me because I just thought it was way too cheap for him. Yeah, and when I saw you doing it, I even said it to Mike, like, oh, he's banking on a 6-game suspension. He's going to try and ride it through those 6 games and then turn it on with him. Or taking the nuts for the year, you still have this quarterback for 3 years at $17 million. That's, that's a top dynasty asset. He's potentially a top 5 quarterback, and we all think he's going to be top 10.
Yeah.
So it's really cheap. It was really savvy, and I was really pissed that nobody else had the balls to do it. We just weren't in position.
Yeah, basically, even if he doesn't play for the entire season, which I'm fine with, by the way, that's why I put him on the 4-year contract instead of the 3-year contract. Even if he doesn't play for this whole season, he's still half the money of Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, half the cost.
Right.
Which I thought was well worth the risk. He's cheaper than Kirk Cousins. He's cheaper than Jalen Hurts, cheaper than Mac Jones, cheaper than Trey Lance, cheaper than Derek Carr.
I saw though that you had who did you took Saquon, right? Which it was a good deal for Saquon, somewhere in the $15 million a year range. But that, like, part of our strategy was to lay off on running backs, especially for longer deals and for the higher money deals. And we're just going to try and fill in at running back. So you always have position that you're scrambling on anyway, right? So I think, or that you're waiting on a little bit in a draft or an auction. And we wanted to do that just to minimize our risk of getting burnt by an often injured position, especially considering that we're so inexperienced in this format, right? Yeah. So we just kind of wanted to limit our risk. So when I saw you get Saquon, it signaled to me that you wanted to win this year. But then when I saw that you got, that you did that with Deshaun, the 2 strategies don't exactly mesh, because you could lose him for the year, but then you could also trade Saquon as well. What were you thinking about that?
So Saquon right now is on a 3-year deal, and he is the 4th cheapest running back drafted so far. And there's been a decent number of running backs. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. About 20 running backs, 23 running backs. He's the 4th cheapest running back. So I got him slightly above Cam Akers. He's going for about half the cost of Najee, half the cost of Jonathan Taylor, half the cost of all those guys. So I think what the thing is with Saquon is, number one, I didn't want to use a 4-year contract. That's why I use a 3-year on him. And then the second strategy with him is saying, okay, is he a player I think can rise in value this season on a contract low enough for somebody to absorb it if I needed to offload it? And I think he's at that threshold at 18 mil where I can take an injured player from somebody and somebody could easily take that contract. If it was a $35 million contract, then it'd be a different story. If I'm talking about Dalvin Cook, who got $31.3 million a year.
Yeah, I thought that was
right?
crazy. That was your
If he
that was
goes
your
down,
dad, right?
Yeah, if he goes down, or Travis Etienne at $26 million a year. If he goes down, like most people are not going to be able to eat that contract for 4 years.
That's why I didn't. That's why I was so afraid of those contracts, man. That's why we didn't want to do that.
Yeah. So and then also the thing is too, you notice the trend, right? The 4 players I have right now, the cheapest tight end, who's an elite tight end, the 4th cheapest running back, who could be an elite running back, right? The 3rd cheapest quarterback, who can be an elite quarterback,
Right.
and the cheapest quarterback, who could be a really good QB2 in Carson Wentz, which we haven't covered so far. But yeah, Carson Wentz is my other player who is absolutely the cheapest contract in the league so far.
I was also bidding you up on that, and Mike was yelling at me on that as well.
And then
because I knew you were getting these guys too cheap, and it's pissing me off. And we just again, I'm not in position to outbid you for our 3rd quarterback, and it's your 1st, or for our 3rd quarterback, and it's your 2nd. It's just not how our draft went.
Yeah, and I mean Carson Wentz, I got him on a 1-year deal, on a prove-it deal. So basically, he's on the cheapest contract. But basically, how these re-signings work is they're going to ask for more money if they're playing relatively well, right? They're never going to. You can never give them a contract for less money. If that's the case, you just need to cut them and try to re-sign them in free agency. So I'm happy enough with Carson Wentz at $12.5 million when Kirk Cousins is at $18 million. Where I can say where Derek Carr is at $22 million, right? Where I can say, okay, Carson Wentz is basically half of Derek Carr, so there's room for, if he plays well, for me to re-sign him and still have him on a contract that's comparable to one of the cheapest in the league. So that's something that I considered as well. And if he's not good, then he's a 1-year contract, and that frees up a ton of space, after he's off my roster next offseason. So those 1-year contracts are helpful as well, because they're almost like space savers, It's just one of those things, to look out for.
Yeah, I just hope there are running backs left for us to use 1-year contracts on, but that's kind of my whole idea, is to use the 1 years on running backs. And we still we saved one of our 4-year contracts, so we have a strategy for that. I don't want to throw it out on the pod. But
throwing out lots of strategy already, Jesse. So
I'm not sharing this podcast with the league, so feel free. Well, I mean, and I don't think we have relatively similar strategies, because my strategy is not changing.
I don't want to throw out the exact players that we're looking at, though. But for our 4-year anyway, and I think we have a 3-year left as well. So I feel like we're going to get 2 more elite-ish players, and then we're just going to be looking for values. I like that we're covered at quarterback and tight end, the two toughest positions to really nail down, in super flex leagues. So at this point, we can just look for values, and we got values on both those guys too. We got, you just covered what all the quarterbacks went for. We got Stafford for $28 million a year on a 3-year deal.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I
forgot that Burrow went for $27 million over what we paid for Allen, which is bizarre. It's crazy.
It really, it's because of when it happened in the draft.
Yeah,
quarterbacks started going and people started panicking.
Yeah,
it was obvious. People realized, and that's why I was bidding up Stafford, and Mike's like, no, and I'm like, come on, man, 28 mil, let's go, and. Chad even said it in the Zoom. He's like, I see Jesse's driving this bid. But it didn't matter. That could have been any of the top 12 quarterbacks. I would have been driving that bid up at $28 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gosh, we gotta stop talking about this. Makes me want to start drafting again right now.
It's so much
another
fun.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this format, because I know a lot of listeners are not really going to understand a lot of the stuff that we're saying, but these are 2 guys that are jumping into this format, and I mean, it's so much fun. I compared it to, walking up to two potheads, compare as an analysis to them being, crazy about Dynasty and offering them crack or cocaine. This is basically what this is. It's just the next level up, right?
Oh my God.
And it's just even more addicting.
Dynasty was the gateway
even
drug.
More crazy, yeah.
Chad just has us in the full business, yeah.
There's so much wrong with that.
Right.
I'm not going to unpack it. There's so much wrong with that. I have never done crack in my life. All right, I'm just going to say that.
I haven't either. But
no comment.
My sleeper name is no comment from Squeaky Clean Captain Mike.
The guy that's never dropped an F-bomb in his life.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, I wish.
Yeah, he said dick in our chat. I was appalled.
I know. I always want to share this feed with like all my Facebook friends and stuff, but I know some of them when they listen to it, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that." And I'm like, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Next church feed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a really, really, really fun time, and you're together. What we're doing is basically, it's live. I guess we should have said that from the start. I don't know if Jesse did say that or not, but it is a live draft. And we have a Zoom going at the same time where everybody's just in there chatting with each other, and it's a really good time. It's, I guess, the closest you can get to a live draft without it being an in-person live draft without it being in person. So it's been really fun with these guys. It's been incredibly difficult to get together, like Jesse was saying, put this thing together. But it's worth it. It's worth it. If you can find yourself into one of these leagues or have any interest in joining one of these leagues, I may leave an email and start a sign up for some listeners to get in one next season, because I don't think I have the the time to put together another one, but quite yet.
So we might as well spend a little bit of time talking about who those tight ends might be that you were talking about in the draft next year or the year after. Donaldson dropped them in the chat. It's Michael Mayer next year and Bowers in 24. So Michael Mayer looks like he could be a first-round NFL tight end, day one guy. He could be really a hot commodity. What Pitt's got up to, in some drafts, second overall, but he was pretty much the consensus 4 overall in that draft, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
I think Mayer could get up that high. Do you guys know anything about these guys yet?
Not too much. Not enough to really give like a super in-depth analysis. If I'm being honest, I know Mayer's going to be a really good prospect. I think he's fairly fast, which I think a lot of people in Dynasty are going to like. Probably going to run around maybe I would probably say maybe like an early to mid 4.5 or something, which is lightning for a tight end. So I like these guys. Kincaid I like as well too.
Okay, I haven't heard of him yet.
Dalton Kincaid, he plays for Utah.
Yeah. Oh, Utah. Okay. This time last year, it was Wiedemeyer, and then he didn't even get drafted. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I think Eric Gilbert's been the guy in if I remember correctly, in Devi that people were pretty crazy about for a while. And
Eric Gilbert.
Yeah.
Eric with an A, I believe.
Yeah, Eric with an A.
But he kind of fell off, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I was saying. I think he's kind of tapered off a bit. So, but I think he's still going to be in the conversation for first, second, third, fourth round kind of draft capital, depending on how he does this year. So,
yeah, tight end can be. It's boomer bust in NFL drafts, man. In Devi, it's really tough to. It's really tough to hit on tight ends in Devi. Although my first ever Devi draft, I didn't know that. I had no idea. So I took Pitts, Freiermuth, and Brevin Jordan. Hit on 2 of those 3. Traded them off and built my team. Went to the finals last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like if you hit on those guys, you can build your whole team off of what you get for them. But yeah, so it's definitely like it's worth taking the risk, but as you can see with Wiedermeyer, it could just be absolutely nothing. Same thing with quarterback, And in the next Devy draft I took like Rattler and Howell, thinking that, screw you guys. You know what I mean? I'm going to take 2 quarterbacks and be set for years. And, both of them, because this time last year, Rattler and Howell were either the 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 quarterbacks in Devy. And, Howell went in the 5th, and Rattler may or may not get drafted. We'll see what happens this year. But then he had to transfer.
Yeah.
Freaking Devy.
Oh, who's the running backs that you guys like?
Jamar Gibbs. I really like him. He looks like he can do it all.
Yeah.
And he's going to Bama. He transferred to Bama, so he's the.
I think he could possibly win the Heisman. I mean,
yeah, he could.
He's playing for. I mean, getting into that Bama offense, it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, he looks like he's lightning all around. Can really catch the ball out of the backfield. I like him a lot. Obviously Bijan Robinson and Tank Bigsby I really like.
Yeah, I like the Ole Miss guy, Zach Evans. I love Zach Charbonnet, so we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I really hope he gets the draft capital next year and lands in a good spot. We'll see about Charbonnet. I've got some you turned me into him in the middle of my campus to Canton last year, so fingers crossed on Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I have Slovis in that league. So once again, how quarterbacks can bust really fast.
Yeah. Yep. It happens, man. It happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right on. All right. So we're right about an hour. We got anything else we want to talk about?
I think I'm good. I think I'm
really,
good, man.
I think we're good.
Let's get some more trades going and, talk it up later for next week and stuff.
Yeah, right on. So careful, everybody out there.
I want to buy some Tony. That's my mission. I got to buy some
That's your
Tony.
mission. Buy some Tony.
Yeah. What's your target rostership?
Oh,
percentage.
I mean, I'd like to probably get. I honestly don't know if I have any shares right now, so I think I'd like to get 2 shares at least. So
yeah,
that put me, 15% or something like that. So
yeah, I think that's a good number.
Slow.
That's a good number.
I'm probably at about 40% right now.
You might be slightly higher than me. I think I'm at like 30, 35 or 36% or something. Some weird.
I was very high on him last year because of where you could get him.
I will tell you where I got him last year. God, we're just the Tony talk. I mean, I had like at one point 80, I think like 85% or something, and it was driving my OCD crazy. And I ended up selling a ton of them after that Cowboys game where he had the ridiculous yardage and everything. And I mean, there was one league where I got what ended up being the 103 and the 203 for him.
Wow.
So
damn.
Yeah, I mean his stock was ridiculous at that point. So I sold off all my shares down to like 20% or something crazy, and now I've been slowly building them up. So this off season.
Right on. Yeah, like I said, I have so much. I'm just gonna sit on them and see what happens.
Yeah, cool stuff. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up.
All right, gentlemen. You can follow us at DWZ_wargames. Chad's at DWZ_Chad. Mike's at DWZ Chad. At DWZ Mike. No underscore.
No underscore.
Yeah.
So lame.
Underscores are annoying.
Yeah. You can find me weekly on the Dynasty Fever podcast with Brian Ford at FFJunkie_. I think I got that right. He'll yell at me next week if I didn't. But you'll see us here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Later.